a remarkable mom.
WRIF is a remarkable radio station.
Baby.
101 The Riff. Everything that rocks.
Detroit's Rock Station 101 WRIF. Everything that rocks. My name is Jade, and boy, the party has started here in the Riff hallway for the 50th anniversary. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together. The one and only JJ and the morning crew, George Baier, Dick the Bruiser, and of course, Screamin Scott joining me as well. So, boy, it has been, what a whirlwind. You guys came in, and it was like a tornado of Detroit rock stars.
Destruction. Well, a lot of old friends.
Yes.
Wait, I got to get this. I got to get this out of the way right now.
Okay.
101 WRIF, the home of rock and roll.
Baby!
Yes,
The
yes.
last time I said that was probably in the winter of 1986.
Wow.
Yeah, and we were saying goodbye and moving on to the next station.
Well, I was going to say, when I walked in today, I remembered the last time I walked out those doors, I was carrying boxes.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, you know, things change over the years.
Yeah. Yeah.
So how are you
Last
guys?
time I walked out there, I was carrying you.
And did for the next 15 years.
But that was on the way in. That's exactly right. I've made a career of that, by the way. I've picked my partners wisely all my career.
Well, that's what you got to do it in radio.
Professionally or domestically, Jim?
All of the above.
Because I don't know how many you've had more of.
Stop.
He's what you call a serial monogamist.
I love so much that we turn the mics on and you guys are just on cue, and that is the beauty of radio and the talent of being on the air.
I haven't been this geeked since probably the first day at W4 working with Steve Dahl.
Wow.
I mean, I have been lit.
Well, what time did you start drinking?
No, not that lit.
Oh.
We're going to do that one later.
Yeah.
Geeked up.
I got to tell you, though, driving in here today, all of the old memories came flooding back of getting pulled over by the police up and down Coolidge Avenue pretty much every morning at 5 o'clock. It's 35. Oh, I got stopped in front of that store. I got stopped in front of that gas
leave
station.
on time to come to work, Jim.
Listen, I got here early today, and it's the first time in the history of WRIF that I ever showed up early for a radio show. I can guarantee you. Usually, he's calling me, "Where are you?"
Once every 50 years.
I think that's par for the course for most RIF employees. That's par for the course.
Hey, I also want to thank you for allowing us to barge into your show. We have no
absolutely.
business being here, and this is your baby, and we thank you for that.
Oh, absolutely.
It's her what? It's her
Baby. Oh, sorry. Yes,
Yes.
I mispronounced it.
You got to get it right.
Well, I
Scott.
appreciate you guys being here.
Ken Calvert on the podcast that we have at WRF, he says, you notice how Arthur had never said the word B? It was always,
Yeah, that's right.
it's again.
Yeah, that's right.
Hopefully we'll be hearing some of that this weekend
hope
as
so.
we progress. And by the way, congratulations to all of you guys on
Thank
the
you.
50th
Thank you.
anniversary. You're part of a crew. There's been generations of people who have come through this building. You're the latest generation, and it's just magnificent. Looking around here, literally the memories did come flooding back, and some of the same people are still here, so I got a lot of hugs in. I'm not very good at social distancing, by the way.
We're trying. We're trying.
I have to say, just through the headphones alone, just hearing both of your voices just brings back a flood of memories. And George, especially you, I must say, if it wasn't for your wonderful voice,
Don't mimic me. Screaming. I'm going to come over. You're going to be screaming.
I'll take it out of the air conditioned club arena.
The air conditioned TCF Center.
I'll put
Get it
that
right.
mask on. I'll put two masks on you.
Wait a minute, there should be chairs thrown around the room right now. That's
Steel
usually,
chairs.
That's usually how it works.
Wrestling was always steel chairs.
And by the way, that's true. At the when we did one of these things where he absolutely went crazy, we literally threw things because we didn't have sound effects back in those days.
Yeah,
We created our own.
that requires
Literally
preparation.
Giant
threw
cart racks.
Crap.
to throw
There's
into.
probably dents in the walls around here somewhere from the stuff
Yeah,
we
we're
threw
not allowed
around.
to do that anymore.
Yeah.
They changed the rules in 2021.
You can blame us for that, by the way.
Cinema Verite is called.
That's quite all right.
Get
Well,
artsy fartsy on it.
we've already had a number of people that are calling in, sharing memories, of course, of you guys back 1979 to 1986 is when you guys rocked
That's exactly
the RIF
right.
airwaves, and just so many memories that people are sharing of the concerts and the shows. And we're going to take a break here. We got to do a little Detroit breakdown because that's a request that we've had. But you guys, you opened up for Cheap Trick. I believe that's a story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. We opened up for them, and when their career was declining a little bit. So was ours.
Yeah. That's exactly right.
Well, let's do a little Detroit breakdown.
You got
Jay
it.
Giles, because that's the way to kick this off.
Yeah.
And we'll get back with that coming up in just a few.
We've been rocking the Motor City since 1971. 101 WRIF. Everything that rocks.
You know, Jade, we never had these problems when we played
I
vinyl.
was just going to say...
When we played records, we didn't have those problems.
I had this conversation this morning. So obviously, when I started in radio, it was 2007. I was fresh into college. I was very young, a late teenager. And so I never got to do the whole vinyl thing, the cart thing.
Yep.
And now everything is digital. Everything's on a computer, and you hit one thing, and you touch one thing.
Yes.
And it's just that easy that all of a sudden the commercials
Let
are
me
playing.
guess, you forgot to check a box on the computer
Boy,
screen.
did I.
Yeah.
Boy, well, I was so excited just to have you guys on the air with me. But so let's for just 1 second, let's impart some wisdom on the listeners about, when you were doing radio back with vinyl back in the day, what was the madness that was the studio back then?
Well, it was crazy because now if you all of a sudden, oh my God, the song's almost over, you can always find a file somewhere to hit the button and play. When the record was almost over and you had to go across the room, pull an album out, take it out of the sleeve, cue it up on the turntable, it took a little while. So hence dead air.
I don't know.
Right.
For me, it would be quicker doing it the old way. I just can't embrace all this stuff.
Oh, Georgie.
I'm old school. I'm sorry.
George, the world has changed for the better, my friend.
You know what's missing? Q-burn.
Oh, yes. That's right. That
start out with those epic labels, and then the song would start.
You know what? It would drive me so mad, Scott, that if one of those things happened, I'd literally, on the air, scrape the needle across the album with the mics open, and I'd hurl it across the room, and it would shatter into pieces.
But we used to play, name that song with... Could you tell what it was?
Did anyone ever get it?
This was before rap DJs, okay?
You were scratching before it was
We
cool.
were scratching before it became fashionable. That's right.
Can we go back to Jay Giles
I'm
for a
still
second?
itching, but that's another story.
I absolutely want to go back to Jay Giles. So we've got, obviously, Jay Giles, not actually from Detroit, but loved the city, right? So
adopted sons, absolutely.
Absolutely, and a ton of requests for Detroit Breakdown to play that song.
Right.
And you have a couple of stories, JJ.
A little bit, yeah. One of them, somebody requested, actually. Was it Vicky who called in to say she wanted to hear Beer Frame, which was a takeoff of a Giles song, Freeze Frame, obviously.
Beer frame. I was working on 50 and 30 in the fourth frame. Reset button jammed without a sound.
Okay. All right. So, and let's get this on the table right away. Back in the old days, we had no idea what we were doing. So we'd take a song, and George would write a parody, but it would be, if the song had 15 verses, the parody would have 15 verses. We didn't realize. Well, people had longer attention spans back then, I think.
Fighting for more airtime.
Absolutely.
Jim would rather be talking than listening.
Now, George, you wrote all the songs?
Most of them.
The parodies?
There's a guy actually in the studio here in the background, Morning Crew archivist Bob Koski, who's a collaborator.
Give it up for Bob because he has been so helpful over the years and decades, as a matter of fact. But the Jay Giles story, but it goes back to W4, and it'll twist into a riff thing in a second. Jay Giles came to town. They did a show at Cobo. Along about midnight or so, a pre-planned and scheduled interview at the studios in an old Victorian house on Jefferson Avenue in downtown Detroit. Jay Giles and Magic Dick, Peter Wolf and Magic Dick, I should say, came back to the station for an interview. We do the interview, and people knew what was coming. So there were literally hundreds of people outside on the front lawn of this radio station spilling out into Jefferson Avenue. And there was a little portico over the front door, and right above that was the bathroom window next to the studio. So Peter Wolf and Magic Dick crawled through the window, both of them out on the portico.
They came in through the bathroom window. And that's where the Beatles got that idea.
It wasn't quite that long ago.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Anyway, they got up there and did a little ditty. Magic Dick played the harmonica, and Peter Wolf sang, and it was just amazing. I mean, radio history like you read about, right? So the next Jay Giles story, the next W4 story happened here. It was in our first week or so of working at WRIF. We had come from W4, and they were giving us some gas on the air over there. Let's just say that. And what was? Oh, they offered. Here was the offer. They wanted everybody. They wanted us to bring dread cards, and they would give a
W4 shirt, T-shirt to you if you would turn in your dread card. Well, dread was the anti-disco card that you would have if you listened to us. So, yeah, we said, okay.
That's fine. So we employed our thousands of listeners on a Saturday morning to meet us at the radio station right here. And we all went down to W4 by Caravan, knocked on the door, demanding our T-shirts. Literally thousands of them. Because we said, don't worry, guys, we'll print more Dread cards for you.
Yeah.
Give it up.
Yeah.
No big
We
deal.
robbed them.
They shut and locked the door.
Well, what's great about
We
that
took all their
story-
T-shirts, we bagged them up, and we gave them to Bangladesh or something, some needy,
Yeah, there you go.
impoverished population.
What I love about that story is that the radio competition has just continued to this day.
Oh, yeah.
It is all about, we are going to beat you. We are going to win.
Yep.
And when I was on the promo team, that was what we did was we are stealing road signs. You want a RIF sticker, you give us the other station sticker, and then you can have one
I'm
of
not
ours.
going to mention any names about Radio Wars, but I believe it was an employee of this company. Maybe she still is, or maybe she isn't. I don't know. She's the one who actually cut the broadcast cable down in Cleveland on the Howard Stern show. Do you know that story?
I may or may not know that
Okay,
story. I
and you
believe
may or
I
may
do,
not know
and
that person?
I may or may not know that person.
Okay. Again, no names.
Yeah, no
But,
names.
Hey,
Let's,
speaking of competition, though, I want to say thank you for allowing me in here because this sort of is unheard of, crossing the street and
It sure
doing
is.
something on a different station. So thank you. And I want to thank everybody here at RIF and Beasley Broadcasting for the opportunity. It's great to relive some of these memories.
Absolutely.
It's that COVID kindness.
Yeah.
Is it?
It's something. It's something. So on that note, let's take a quick break. We'll regroup in here because we're having ourselves a little party, and I know you guys got a ton more stories.
It's already going off the rails, isn't it?
It is going off the rails a little bit.
We've been rocking the Motor City since 1971. We are 101 WRIF.
Nobody plays more music than the RIF.
Detroit's Rock Station 101 WRIF. Everything that rocks. Well, we're having such a party in here that it's getting a little out of hand.
It's a little out of hand.
Things are flying. You were talking about throwing chairs earlier, and
Jade, technology is a wonderful thing, except when it's not.
Except when it's not. Well, they gave us touch screens, which I don't think is. Why is that a thing in radio? We shouldn't have touch screens.
I avoid it like the plague.
Yes,
Because I got the same issue and I screw it up exactly the same way. But you know what I'm very thankful for right now?
That I'm the one sitting behind the board.
And that
We're all thankful for that.
yes, I do my show. Hey, I ran a tight ship, George.
Yes, you did.
I've been doing my show from home for the past 11 months. So
Yeah.
I haven't, this looks like Greek to me right now. For me to
Right.
sit down and try to do this now be impossible. So good for you.
Thank you. So we're here again with JJ and the morning crew. George Baier, or Dick the Bruiser, as many of you know, and Screamin Scott, celebrating the RIF's 50th anniversary. Brought to you by Bud Light. When you really want your favorite beer, there's a Bud Light there, and you guys, of course, are all we're all buds here, which is super exciting. So
And none of us are Bud Lights.
Again, speak for yourself.
So we're just talking about some of the past memories that we've had, that you guys have had. I suppose I shouldn't say we, as I was a wee young child back when you guys were rocking the RIF airwaves. So you had some other stories that you wanted to talk about.
Sure. Let's go back to 1984. Remember the season for the Detroit Tigers? Early in the season, and from the previous years, I think it was, Thank God I'm a Country Boy.
Yeah.
Was there, like, when they were brooming out the...
brooming infield.
Now, was this the song they were playing as
Yes.
the Tigers were going to win the World Series? That was the
Only-
song they chose?
Yes, but
There
it
were
was...
so many great songs.
It had been that song for
Yeah,
many years.
So many good Detroit songs, too.
so many good Detroit songs.
Yeah, and it's
John Denver.
Thank God I'm a country boy. When this isn't even a country town.
Sure.
So it made
and I'm
no
going to be honest,
sense.
I don't even hate that song.
No.
I don't even hate John Denver.
It has its place. It has its place.
It has its
but
place.
that was not one
I don't
of them.
hate it, but that's not the place.
I learned to hate it over time. And we thought then the Tigers were doing so good. Remember, they started out 35-5 that
Yeah.
year.
Yep.
And we had high hopes, and ultimately...
High hopes. Now, that would have been a good song, Jim.
That would have been a great song.
And ultimately, they came and gave us a World Series championship. But we thought, you know what? We could come up with a better song, and wouldn't that be a feather in our cap if we could actually get the Tigers to play it? Well, part A happened, part B never happened, unfortunately.
I wasn't sure how that story ended.
their
I was
management
wondering
was a
if they
little
ever
stale.
did.
Ended with
Yeah,
a
they
thud, unfortunately. But it was fun along the way. So it was Dancing in the Seats, Martha
Yep.
Reeves and the Vandellas. And George came up with the idea and wrote the song called Dancing in the Seats, which perfect.
Yeah,
For
it-
brooming off
it
the
worked.
infield.
It worked. And director's cut, if I may here, the original Dancing in the Seats was actually voiced by George Swell. they take off on George Cale. Hey, everybody, and it's George Cale here with the Tigers, But we ran that for a couple of weeks, and we said, you know what, this is good, but we could do better if we got Martha Reeves to sing it. Okay.
Yeah.
Anybody know Martha?
No.
So where it went from there?
I don't know. We tracked her down, though, and she said yes.
Wow.
Of all crazy things, she said yes. So we get to the studio. What was the name of it? It was over on the west side. Pearl Sound.
Pearl Studio.
Yeah, Pearl Sound
in Canton.
Yeah, that's right. And so we get over there that morning. We're all set, ready to go. And all of a sudden, a limo pulls up with Martha and her agent. And he comes in and says, I don't know, and she's a little nervous. I don't know. Let her sit and think about it for a little while. So this went on.
Got nervous appearing with the Bruiser Band. I mean,
obviously, I'm nervous having you guys in here right now.
A professional musician trying to measure up with the Bruiser Band. I mean, that had to, she had to get her brave face
Sure.
on.
So anyway, finally, and I don't know how long it took, maybe an hour, literally, of going back and forth. We were doing shuttle diplomacy from the rolled down window of the limousine back to the studio.
Now, it'd have been easier if it was Aretha Franklin, because then you could get some food and.
Well, that's true too. Yes. Yeah, but we never would have gotten paid. So finally, she was talked into it. Reluctantly, she was talked into it. And I think partly it wasn't out of embarrassment because she was with us. She was nervous that she wouldn't be able to pull it off.
Right.
Yeah. So, and then as luck would have it, the music comes on. She goes in the studio, and literally the first take was perfect.
Wow.
Yeah. And I know this is radio, but I'm looking at a newspaper article from 1984, June 7th, Detroit News, Linda Solomon, the author. And there's a nice picture of Martha and me, WRIF's George Dick the Bruiser Baier, and Martha Reeves recording Dancing in the Seats. Look at this. Man, I can't believe how slim she is.
How slim she is.
Well, we do have the song here, and so I think we should at least play a little bit.
Yeah.
All right. George.
I haven't heard that in a long time. It stands up. It holds up well all these years later.
I forgot about Bergman, too, by the way.
Oh, yeah. Dave Bergman. So that was the finished product. But,
it turned out so well.
It's awesome.
Amazing.
Because she was a pro.
Yes, exactly. Well. And it still holds up, and they can still use it today. And now, thinking back on it, listening to it, why the heck didn't they put that song on? I don't get it.
Well, maybe now that we're re-bringing it back up.
Because this is a different day and age. We'd have lawyers all over your radio station with cease and desist orders.
More than likely.
You don't have the rights for that song. Yeah. And wait, did you post that on social media? You don't have the rights to put that music on social media.
So you're banned from Twitter.
I got a question for you guys. So obviously, the last time the Tigers won the World Series, 1984. I'm gonna make a statement here. I don't know how you guys are going to feel about it, but I wasn't even alive yet. So 1984, I didn't exist. And how did that feel in the city for the Tigers? I didn't exist. I wasn't even a thought.
The city missed you already.
I wasn't even a thought in 1984. So what was the feeling in the city, in Detroit, in the 80s? 1984, the Tigers have won the World Series.
I'll give you one name. Bubba. Does that ring a bell, George?
Yeah, Bubba. He was the guy dancing on the police car.
That was overturned and on fire.
Oh, my goodness.
That's what the flavor was like in 1984.
It was great. 84, though. The time before that, it was 67, and a lot of us were 10, 12, 13 years old, and in 67, we couldn't celebrate the way we did in 84.
Well, since I'm a little older than you, I'll correct you. It was 68 because
you're right. 68.
That came out of the riots in 1967, And the thing about that is I was in high school and a bunch of us got together. It was an afternoon game and that when we won the series in 68 on the road and they were flying back. And that was long before there was any security anywhere in the world, even at an airport.
Just go to the airport.
So everybody went down to the airport to greet the plane. And I mean, not just the airport, on the tarmac.
Wow.
Thousands and thousands of people on the tarmac.
That does not happen today.
Every plane that came in, it was like, there's their plane. It's coming in now. In fact, one of them, they were so sure it was the plane actually had to stop as soon as it landed. And they had to deplane the people off stairs instead of going to a terminal because it was too dangerous.
Deplane.
Yeah.
Deplane.
But the punchline to that is they got word that there were a lot of people there, so they landed at Willow Run Airport.
Of course they did. Divert. We got to go elsewhere.
Exactly.
That sounds about right. My memory, of course, like I said, I wasn't around for the 84 Tigers. I went down to the World Series in 2012, and I thought...
Oops.
I thought we had it. I paid a lot of money. For those tickets. I brought my mom, who actually has the audio of the 69 World Series, or 68. She has that game on vinyl. That was my grandfather's. So Tigers baseball, a huge thing in my family. I was like, Mom, we're going to the Tigers game.
They didn't have a good luck song back then, you see. In 84, they had Dancing in the Seats.
We needed you guys.
Mm-hmm. And by the way, what you missed in 68, I still have somewhere in my archives a jar with a bunch of dirt in it because... getting a piece of the field was a thing. So at the end of the season, people jumped over the railing and grabbed sod.
All these years, I thought it was your grandmother.
We're hanging out here in the RIF Studios for the 50th anniversary with JJ and the Morning Crew. Screamin Scott joining us as well. We're going to be partying pretty much all day today. We've got more guests coming up, and we'll be back in just a few with JJ Screamin and George Baier.
101 WRIF, celebrating 50 years in Detroit Rock City.
Have you ever been mellow? Yeah, neither have we. 101, the RIF.
Detroit's only home for rock and roll, 101 WRIF, celebrating our 50th anniversary presented by Bud Light. When you really want your favorite beer, there's a Bud Light there. Jade here, joined by Screamin Scott, JJ and the Morning Crew, George Baier. Thank you guys so much for joining us. Thank you for being here for our 50th anniversary, and you guys are a part of the RIF heritage, so we thank you.
Thanks for letting us in the door.
We are honored. We are honored to be recognized because out of 50 years, we were only here for 6.
It's amazing.
So we must have done something right, but then on the other side, we must have done something wrong.
You certainly made an impact.
Which brings the question, of all the years that you were on, what do you think would be the year that you were just hitting your stride, that everything was going good? All the gears were working.
84.
84, sure. Yeah.
84.
I mean, honestly,
at each station, though, we had some peaks, some valleys, but some peaks.
That's why we are no longer at some of those places.
Right. But that's how we got 20 years in the market together, too.
That's true.
Really. I remember standing in long lines at the Autorama just to see you guys and get something signed, like the Dread card.
That's a different time, though, and things are different now. It was a simpler time back then.
Okay, Grandpa. There was Radio Row, and they had all the stations next to each other.
Yeah, but literally, we would do stuff, and thousands of people would show up on the front lawn of the radio station every year before Christmas. We did something called the Morning Moron Fish and Tackle Choir. And we'd invite our listeners to come down and sing Christmas carols. And literally, we'd start at 7 a.m. in the dark.
And then morphed into the Fish and Tackle Choir and Venison Barbecue.
Yeah.
Just crazy stuff happened.
But literally, on the front lawn of WRIF were thousands of people at 7 o'clock in the morning, and it was cold out there, baby. So that was one of the great fond memories. But people don't do that kind of thing. I don't think radio generates thousands and thousands and thousands of people to come to a physical location anymore.
There's no more softball games.
Well, there's that too.
the RIF Flamingos.
That's because we can't make it to first base anymore.
Jade still plays softball.
I sure do.
Kicks butt.
Oh man, who did we play against? We played against Journey. Over at Southfield High School.
Eddie Money. Yep. The name escapes me. Blackfoot.
Yes, that's right. Blackfoot was a big one. Yeah, absolutely. Because
Jackson Spires was a great third baseman.
He came from Ann Arbor, I think, is where they originated from. So those were a lot of fun, and people came from everywhere. You want to see Steve Perry play baseball?
Yeah.
Right.
Just come to the RIF softball game.
He didn't, by the way.
No, but he was there. Yes, he did.
He wasn't going to take a chance of goofing up.
We just wanted to see his girlfriend, Sherry. Oh, Sherry. Because
She was not. I know.
Oh, Sherry.
My mom grew up in Metro Detroit, so I know she was definitely one of the many in attendance at the softball games and at all the events and the things that were happening. And she's always told me, like, it's very cool that you work there, Jade, because I was at all that stuff when it existed back in the 70s. So
to your point, though, even when we came here, I mean, it sort of launched like that because the Dread thing happened. And I got to tell you, I bet that more than 100,000 Dread cards were mailed out of this place in self-addressed stamped envelopes. Seriously.
I would say probably daily we get text messages of people sending us
People
photos that
showing
still have them. They
That's
are so
exactly
proud
right.
to hold on to one. And I mean, I'm jealous. I wish I had one.
But I think the thing probably that put us on the map as much as anything else were parody songs.
Oh, big time.
And there's a ton of them. I've forgotten more than I remember, to tell you the truth. 96 Beers, Catch a Good High, The Tale of King Boots. I don't know if you guys...
King Boots, that was a good one.
Drinking Thunderbirds.
Yeah, Drinking Thunderbirds, Bob Seger's song.
Yep, Every Swing You Take. Of course, we heard Dancing in the Seats. This Ain't No Disco. Fatter. Do you think we're sexist? Oh, man. Do you think that we get away with that one today?
Yeah.
I don't think so, George.
Well, let me give a shout out to some of the guys in the band, too, because when we were here at RIF, it wasn't just, we didn't know anything about playing instruments and stuff, but Mark Pasman, who was a musician in his own right, and he did a blues show here at WRIF.
He was actually program director for a while here.
He was. I'd like to forget those years. It's always more fun to work with somebody than for them, you know what I'm saying? Steve Costan was playing guitar in the Bruiser Band, and one of his deals was on his show. Quite often he'd open up the mic, he'd be playing his guitar along with the guitar solo in whatever song he happened to be playing at the time. And Tom Dalton was a promotions guy, and he played drums. So shout out to those guys. And while I'm at it, I got to give a shout out to Mark Zano. Different topic, I know, but the Miracle on Ice, that'll pop up on the internet every once in a while. People still love it. And I think about it, and I think, God, Mark needs to get some credit here, because without the sound effects, he was the engineer that mixed it. Without the sound effects, it's like a Three Stooges movie without the soundtrack. And I'm glad I did it. I thought it was good and cute, but he just did a bang-up job on the sound effects.
And for Jade, because it was before you were born, it's the story of Jesus as told.
It's told by the hockey announcers, Sid Abel and...
I've stumbled across it while looking through the archives.
You have?
Yeah.
All right, fantastic. Well, we have a montage.
Yeah, let's fire it up.
We're gonna drink 96 beers.
This one made me laugh so hard. So hard.
I get a headache already hearing that one.
Nothing matters but the weekend. Boom, boom, boom. From the Bruiser's point of view. Gonna go into the kitchen. What are you gonna do, Dick? And drink myself another brew. Switching to high. I'm a fat cat, but I don't care. I strut right by with my fat derriere.
I mean, did these just come off the top of your head?
Brian Setzer heard Fat Cat Strut. Pasman was pretty well connected with him, and he actually liked it, so that was a great endorsement.
You used to wear didn't you used to wear a cat's costume when we went on stage with that one?
Once. Or John Travolta. Oh, wow. Life during disco wartime, that's what that was.
Wow. There we go. There it is.
Oh, my goodness.
George Swell.
Swell. Every stolen base in the pennant race.
Okay, bed's over. In this day and age.
Well, I got to say once again, thank you guys so much for joining us.
Thank you. Thanks to Tom Bender, who was the program director at the time. Jay Hoke was the general manager of the radio station. Jay Hoker. Yeah. And then Bender went on to become a longtime general manager of this whole place. So that's what sort of set the table. I do have one question for you guys here. Have you stumbled across the hardtop convertible of an old Mercedes anywhere in one of the conference rooms here?
Not that I know of.
It's Ben Hollow's if you find it.
Okay.
This place used to be the storeroom for all of his stuff he didn't want to keep at home.
All of his things and stuff.
Don't have room in my garage.
Well, once again, we're celebrating the RIF's 50th anniversary. JJ, George, and of course,
thank you
Screamin'
so
is going
much,
to be rocking.
guys.
Thank you so much for joining me, for taking over. This has been so much fun, and we've got a ton more in store. Ken Calvert's joining us in just a little bit.
I should live
Karen
long enough
Savelly.
to hear the Jade anniversary show on your 50th.
You know, well, that's going to be.
We
that's
should all
gonna
live
be a
so
time.
long.
I certainly hope so. I certainly hope I'm around and
What are you,
last.
21?
Well, you know, you're so sweet. Yes, 22 actually. 22 years old.
Are you playing a song?
We were 22
Yes.
once, too.
What is it?
Yes. Steppenwolf, a little magic carpet ride.
Ooh,
How does
let's
that
do
one
it.
go?
Yes,
You guys
that's
rock
fine.
that one?
Yeah.
All right. Once again, thank you guys for rocking the riff. Happy 50th. Thank you for being with us.
You got it. 101 WRIF. This is the home of rock and roll. JJ and the Morning Crew. Steppenwolf.
101 WRIF, celebrating 50 years in Detroit Rock City.
Have you ever been mellow? Yeah, neither have we. 101, the riff.